What is up, Sleepers fans? More specifically, Kansas fans, because you're probably the ones wanting to watch a recap of this game after the fact. If you're a Missouri fan, you probably just delete the tape on this one. Kansas wins 80 to 60. I'm Matt. He's Jordan. J-Man, what'd you think of this one? Just let's get your initial reaction, and then we'll start to really break it down.
I mean, Kansas was the score indicates what I thought the game
Yeah,
was. We were talking offline about the stats. They kind of look eerie, like a lot more similar than
yeah,
you'd think for a 20-point loss, but or a 20-point win for Kansas, 20-point loss for Missouri. But I was just I look two of my X factors in this game were Trey White and Melvin Council. And look, Kansas fans, you probably hate me making fun of Melvin Council, like him shooting outside shots. I thought this was my favorite Melvin Council
yeah,
game
same.
of this season.
Yeah,
He
me
was
too.
fantastic, and him and Trey White led the team in minutes tonight or today,
Mhm.
and I just thought he had a great game. I know it was 4 of 10, but he really
Okay.
8 assists, a great floor general, and most of those 10 shots I live with. And so no clown in Melvin Council in this recap. He played outstanding, and I'm very proud of him.
Played really good defense. He guarded a bunch of guys in this game. He shut down Anthony Robinson for the most part. Robinson finished with five, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers. Council, kind of a similar stat line, 9 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists to 3 turnovers. Picked up a few fouls in this one, but I agree with you. It was just all over the place defensively, really pushed the tempo offensively. I thought he really helped. Like, I mean, this wasn't like a huge Badunga or Tiller game, but I thought the pick and roll game with them and Council both was good. He got each of them a lob and got them rolling to the rim. Like, just what you want. And the shots that used to go to him wide open on the perimeter are now going to Trey Young and this Darren Peterson guy that came out of nowhere, who's pretty darn good as well. It's just a dominant performance by Kansas. Like, they win by 20, but it felt like more than that. It felt like it could have been 25 or 30, and then they kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit here and maybe just chilled out a bit once Peterson left the game.
Yeah, the kind of the play that honestly flipped the game upside down was the double tech in the
Yeah.
first half. Anthony Robinson picked up his third foul in that.
Hmm.
It was 26-23 Kansas with 2:10 left in the first. Kansas goes up, I think, like eight or something at half. But through the second half, they went on like a 13-3 run. It was 39-26. And then they even grew that lead even more to inevitably a 20-point lead. Kansas battled back, made it like to 12, but it stayed within 12 to 20 the rest of the game. But honestly, you look back at that double tech, it kind of just flipped the script on Missouri because Anthony Robinson had to go out with his third foul, getting a tech in that. And so it even with that, it was still a weird first half. Like if it was a say it was a 3-point game at halftime, I would
Hmm.
have thought Kansas would still run
Yeah, same.
Missouri out of the gym by double digits because they were just getting better looks.
Yeah.
Like Missouri, look, I know Mark Mitchell just as well as you guys do, and I know he had 21, but it's kind of just like empty calorie stats. Like 21 and 7 looks really good on the box score, but he was a team worst minus 20 and a 20-point loss. And he went what was he went 7 of 15. Most
Hmm.
of that's around the rim, 1 of 3 from three, and then 6 of 11 from the free throw line. So you get a slasher who is inefficient around the rim, which I thought he would be against Kansas. And then he gets fouled, so he goes to the free throw line. He's a slasher. He only makes 1 of 2 every time. Like that's a tough
Facts.
recipe to be a very good team when your leading scorer is not efficient around the rim as a slasher, and then not efficient at the free throw line being a slasher.
Yeah.
So that's tough for them. And Jacob Cruz going scoreless in the first half. I know he finished with 11, but again, Kansas did their damage in that. It's probably like a 8-minute stretch going from 2 minutes in the first half
Hmm.
to going in the second half.
Yeah, the game felt over from that point on. And honestly, just the double text, you mentioned it. I thought that was interesting. I also got to just like complain about Fran Fraschilla. Sorry if the Fraschilla family is listening to this, but him like getting bent out of shape, that Melvin Council was fired up that his boy got thrown to the ground because they haven't been in the rivalry long enough to care about the rivalry, was just kind of a stupid point to me. Like, I think this is what you want, is guys coming in and being excited and extra amped up. Like, they could feel the energy in the building, I'm sure. And whether they've been there a long time or not, these kids aren't stupid, like, or these young men aren't stupid. I'm sure they know that this is a big deal game because they were on campus all week while people were telling them this is a big game. So them being on edge, there being a little tension, that's good for the game. That's good for the rivalry for however long these two teams continue to schedule each other. So I just didn't understand the point he was trying to make. It's like, well, the guys moving around too much ruins rivalries, but then they shouldn't be invested. Like, what are you saying, dude?
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of that because the play-by-play guy, his name escapes me, but he was saying like, do you think that was a little embellishment on the Missouri guy who flopped
Yeah,
on McDowell's shove, and Fran Fraschilla kind of got irritated by him saying that. It's like, no, you just can't shove. Like it was a push, but I think Francillo was talking about the initial push on
first
Badunga's
one,
back
right?
and not the embellishment that the play-by-play was saying. And
It's
so
the
he
soccer
kind of
flop. I
got
mean, yeah,
yeah, he kind of got bent out of shape on the wrong action there. And then he randomly in the 20-point win, like as the game was out of reach, was kind of taking a dig at Kansas's roster. It was like they whiffed on the portal and just started naming like Melvin Council isn't that
he's an
good?
okay player from the A10, and yeah, I was like, what do
He's like
you?
Trey White. I'm like, what are we doing right now? I thought it was an impressive game. And
Yeah,
look, you can make that case if you want to any other time, but not in
sure,
a 20-point win where Kansas was comfortably winning in the whole second half. I just
yeah,
thought it was a weird hill to die on, or weird timing to die on that hill about not liking Kansas's roster.
yeah. I have that written down here too. That was just bizarre after what you just watched. If you just said it, when it's like a 3-point game in the first half, like, oh, these two teams are, both underwhelming or whatever, like, okay, I still wouldn't really agree with you, but this is a decent Missouri team, right? Like they're not terrible. They're gonna hang in the SEC a good amount of games. So the Kansas team get a 20-point win against them that could have been more. I think you take that, and you didn't get like this, Darren Peterson masterclass or anything to get you to do it. He plays 23 minutes. He scores 17 points on 6 of 14 shooting, 3 of 9. So this wasn't like Peterson was a star and all these other portal bums did nothing. Like I'll actually probably remember this or like semi-jokingly refer to it as the Trey White game all year because he was so good. Like 20 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 of 9 from the field, 3 of 5 from three, including the one at the buzzer at halftime, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. He was just like comprehensively the best player in this game to me and just like really solid. Didn't need a ton of shots to do it. Like I'm not expecting him to go 20 and 13 every time, but you get like 80% of this Trey White the rest of the year if you're Kansas, you would absolutely take it. So to talk about them whiffing on him in the portal as he's like dominating the game was just so bizarre.
Yeah, Trey White is probably my favorite role player in the Big 12 and one of my favorite role players in the country. And
Hmm.
role player, again, is not like slander to his
No,
game.
sure.
Plays what he needs to do exceptionally well. I mean, how many games this year has he shot like 6 to 9 shots, but he has 15 plus points because he's so good at getting to the charity stripe. Seven of
Hmm.
eight from the free throw line, 5 of 9 from the field, and then 3 of 5 from three. He's just hella efficient. And
Yep.
you have that alongside Melvin Council. Like I said, great game from him, favorite game of the year with him. And then here comes Darren Peterson back. And in our preview, we said, like, hey, it's going to get Kansas a little bit to get going with Darren Peterson back in the lineup with the guys that have been playing together. And you saw that in the first half. And
Hmm.
Peterson definitely settled with some tough looks, especially in the first half. I think he
Yeah.
airballed a three and shot a tough midi after that. But like, look, it's his first game back against a Missouri team that's athletic, and he could have probably got to the cup. Franchilla was saying like, go to
Sure.
the rim, take your guy off the dribble, and certain matchups. He was not necessarily wrong in that. It's
Hmm.
just look, Peterson's coming off what the hammy issue to where
That's what I was
maybe
thinking.
he
He
doesn't
probably
want
didn't
to.
want to explode. Yeah, I was like,
He
that
wants to
happens.
he wants to settle, and he can hit those middies. He's rusty, and he airballed a
Yep.
three. He airballed one over the rim in the second half. But it's like this dude's rusty, playing with a hammy that he's trying to make sure is comfortable. So
Yep.
I expected him to have a tough game. And by the way, his tough game is 17,
Yeah,
23 minutes. I mean, are you
exactly.
kidding me? He hit that lefty layup or
I was sick.
hit side with his left hand, banked it in. He's so different. I
Yep.
love watching him play. But yeah, 17 points in 23 minutes on a roster that Fran Fraschilla thinks is going to the NIT.
It was wild. I got a couple other things just about the other guys that are apparently such bums. Like Jamar McDowell, I thought was really good in this game. Doesn't put up like this crazy stat line, but I liked what he gave them. Only 7 points and 1 rebound and 2 assists, but I thought impactful. Played defense. He's at least a threat to shoot, so they have to step out and guard him. Tiller has 5 blocks in this game. Badunga has two. They each had a steal. No, Badunga has a steal. Council has 2 steals. So it was just defensively, like you have to worry about Council ball hawking you on the perimeter. And then anytime you get toward the rim, you've got to be watching from the weak side because one of those two guys is a threat to come over and the volleyball spike you, into the 10th row. And I think that like got into Missouri's head a little bit at a certain point, especially around Tiller. It was like you could see guys looking over their shoulder, like, is someone about to come, take me out of the air here. You mentioned the air ball from Peterson. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, he's probably not in a position very often where he has like a squared up catch and shoot opportunity from three. He's probably like dribbling into most of his threes. So I thought that was kind of interesting, but that'd be a nice dimension for them is if you could have Council kickouts to Peterson and not him not have to dribble 5 times to get all of his shots. I thought that was the biggest thing in the first half. I think he looked tentative partly because he didn't want to come back in and force things and like, dominate the ball after these guys had been doing so well without him. So I give him credit for not trying to like take over and kind of cast these guys to the side. And in the second half, I don't know if Self said something in the second half, but they looked much more cohesive. I thought the ball moved better. Badunga had a couple passes that were really good. Tiller moved the ball. So they also turned defense into offense a little bit more. It wasn't quite like a ton of turnovers, but they'd get a rebound and then push just enough that they never had to like score as much in the half court on a set defense. And I think that's really the recipe for Kansas. So I just thought they looked a lot like cleaner. And that's, like you said, it's rust from Peterson, but it's also rust from all of them having to play next to Peterson too. So I thought they figured it out. And I wouldn't want to play them, 2 weeks from now when they're really like locked in.
Yeah, I mean, I think this Kansas team, I bought stock on them after they lost to Duke. I was very impressed with
Yeah.
them. They've had a very good run since then. I know they lost to UConn, right? Was
Hmm.
that their
Yeah.
yeah,
Close game. Yeah.
a close game, and it was a rock fight, but still, they play NC State soon. I I have sold. I did not buy the stock in Will Wade, so I'm happy that I did not buy into that hype because they can't guard a parking
It's
cone or
bad.
a
Yeah.
parked car, and so you have to stay in front of Melvin Council or Darren Peterson, and then Trey White is a Swiss Army knife. Good luck,
Yeah.
and they have no big. So good luck guarding Badunga. So Kansas, I think you're going to be fine. I have the stock in Kansas. I think this is a really good basketball team that's going to make noise come into March. They're going to hit their stride. They're going to continue to do so. And the last thing I want to touch on in the game for both teams was Missouri on layups, 9 of 24.
That's tough.
9 of 24. I don't think I've ever seen that many layups missed in a game. 15 missed layups. And it just goes one to show you how good Kansas can be at altering and contesting shots. And
Exactly.
also, welcome to the Mark Mitchell experience. You're just throwing it off the glass because again, they had 16 offensive rebounds. Missouri did, which are like Kansas. You got to get those boards. But
All right.
when you're just throwing against the backboard and playing patty cake, it's kind of easy for the athletic offensive team just go crashing.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of like a mixed bag in that review. But if Missouri wants to, be a tournament team, because I think they're pretty good, but
Sure.
beat up on some bad Ken Palm teams. If they want to be a tournament team, they have to find somebody else that could be kind of the playmaking option, and then Mark Mitchell kind of be a secondary guy
Yeah.
because Mark Mitchell's your number one guy. I think it could be a long year for Missouri, and then for Kansas, like I said, I have the stock in Kansas, and they're going to be fine.
It's honestly just like a really clean offensive profile for Kansas in this game. Like, obviously, the defense is good. We just talked about it, but they shoot 46% from the field, 43% from three, which, if you're Bill Self, you would take absolutely every day of the week. 73% from the line, not incredible, but they get there 26 times, which is good. Only 9 turnovers, playing at a pretty reasonable pace, I think is impressive. They had 41 rebounds, so they out rebound their opponent. A couple fast break points, not crazy, but just pushed enough tempo. 34 points in the paint. Like I think if you're Bill Self, like the film study or film, breakdown after this is gonna be pretty favorable, just because it's I think what you want to see for them the rest of the way. Keep doing this, and you play elite defense both on the perimeter and the interior. They're gonna be a tough out for a lot of teams the rest of the year here. So gotta feel pretty good. J-Man, any last thoughts before we wrap this one?
No, I think, like I said, Missouri got to find the Cruz. If you want to be the guy, you got to step up, and then they just got to find more scoring outside of Mark Mitchell. And in Kansas, I think this team can go deep in March.
Get Darren Peter some ibuprofen and a ice tub and all that kind of stuff, and get him ready for the next game here. And we'll be back to cover it all on Sleepers Media.